Welcome to Thursday morning on Legal AF. I'm Michael Popok. This is going to be another Trumponomics breakdown with a tariff angle, this time focused on our friends and our allies, what had been our friends and our allies in Canada. Yes, the Maple Midas. Get ready, because we're going to talk about how strong and how resistant and how defiant with strength of character your Prime Minister, Mark Carney, has been. Of course, a central banker that Donald Trump hates. He has a collection of them. Starts with our Federal Reserve Chairman, Jay Powell. Mark Carney having been a central banker in 2 different countries. And he knows how to resist Donald Trump. And now what he's saying is the right thing. Mark Carney, on behalf of the Canadians, is saying that we're going to turn away from the United States and our economic success is not going to be tied to the United States any longer. Think about that. This is the reshaping of global economy and global relationships, but in a very poor way between Canada and the United States and the United States and the rest of the world. I've been talking about this since the Trump administration took office. All Donald Trump is doing is making our reliable, proud allies turn away from the United States and turn towards either Europe, Russia, and or China. And that is a devastating reordering of world affairs, courtesy of Donald Trump, that can't be undone overnight. Now, we have new reporting that, and a new video clip I'm going to show you of the Prime Minister, Mark Carney, talking about supporting, through billions of dollars of Canadian government aid, industries like lumber and steel that they're going to need to turn away from the United States. Now, let me put this in perspective, because Donald Trump treats Canada so poorly, like a doormat, even with his juvenile sophomoric threats to make it a 51st state. But as large of a landmass as Canada represents, of course, it doesn't have, the hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of millions of people that the United States has. Notwithstanding that, think about this. Canada was the second largest investor in the United States. Second largest foreign investor in the United States had always been Canada. Canada businesses, Canada wealth, Canada dollars. That's going to change. That has already started to change. And even given its population, it is, and was, operative term, the largest buyer of United States exports. Okay. Now, when Donald Trump talks about tariffs and Canada, and he just set a new set on Thursday of 35% up from 25%, another retaliatory, punitive punishing of our reliable trading partner, investment partner. Think about that. Who is in business with somebody that then abuses them so economically? No one. No one rational. This is not rational thought on display. So that was the relationship between the U.S. and Canada before Donald Trump got hit. Now, of the exports from Canada, 85% of those exports, 85% are not subject to the tariffs that Donald Trump just set at 35%. 85% are tariff-free from Canada out to the United States because of another agreement that was signed in 2016, the North American Free Trade Agreement between Mexico, Canada, the United States, when Donald Trump was first president. But we're talking about a very critical 15% that involves the automotive industry, steel, copper, and pharmaceuticals. Let's be frank. Because of the high cost of pharmaceuticals in this country, a lot of people get their prescriptions somehow through Canada. Donald Trump doesn't like that. He wants to shut down people saving money on healthcare. So the 35% tariffs or the 25% tariffs on auto, the 50% tariffs on steel and aluminum, on Canadian goods, even though we're only talking about 15% of the export bundle, it's an important 15%, especially to Canadians and to those industries. And that's why Mark Carney, is doing a whistle-stop tour around Canada, including at a lumber manufacturing plant to talk about how they are going to pivot away from the United States. And here's the clip.
And the U.S. is in the process of fundamentally changing all of its trading relationships. In a series of recent agreements, America is in effect charging for access to its economy through a combination of higher baseline tariffs, unilateral trade liberalization by its partners, and new commitments to invest in the United States. We understand that. Overall, Canada is in a strong position. Despite our size, Canada is already the second largest foreign investor in the United States. Many of our companies are essential to the complex supply chains that drive American competitiveness. And the commitment of the United States to the core of CUSMA, reaffirmed again last week, means that the average U.S. tariff rate on Canadian goods remains one of its lowest. And over 85% of Canada-U.S. trade continues to be tariff-free in both directions. To be clear, Canada remains committed to CUSMA for the stability and the prosperity it provides on both sides of the border, and will continue to engage in constructive trade negotiations with the United States in the pursuit of the best deal for both sides. And I'll be speaking more about how we can reinforce these commitments in short order. But despite our advantages, certain of our major Canadian industries are being severely impacted by U.S. trade. These strategic sectors include autos, steel, aluminum, copper, pharmaceuticals, semiconductors, and of course, softwood lumber. So while we'll continue to work with the United States on the many mutually beneficial opportunities that we share in trade and investment, it is clear that we cannot count or fully rely on what has been our most valued trading relationship for our prosperity. And that's why we're increasingly focused on building our strength at home and finding new opportunities for Canadian companies and workers abroad. Our government's new comprehensive industrial strategy will help our companies retool and reinvest to protect Canadian jobs, to build Canadian competitiveness, and to meet growing demands in Canada while developing international opportunities wherever free trade is a commitment, not a condition.
That's not a good thing. Now, Claudia Sheinbaum's got her own love-hate relationship with the United States, and she's able on these conversations with Donald Trump to convince him to keep giving her 90-day extensions. But Canada isn't able to do that and keeps getting hit with these retaliatory tariffs. But they're doing the right thing for the sovereignty of their country, and they're doing the right thing for the sovereignty of their economy. You have to protect yourselves from an abusive trading partner. You have to, in any relationship, you have to protect yourself from an abusive counterparty. In your emotional life, your personal life, your economic life, or in your trade relationship. And that's what Canada's doing. And they are going to be a symbol for the rest of the world of how you defy Donald Trump and still have economic success. Now, he's smart, and it smartly has said, we're not going to just retaliate knee-jerk against the United States jacking up tariffs on copper and aluminum and car manufacturing just to retaliate. We're going to do it in a strategic, surgical way to punish the United States without having it wrap back and hit Canada in the head. And I got to think that a central banker by training, an economist by training, who's also your prime minister in Canada, knows a lot more than what we're watching on the other side of the border over the United States, led by Donald Trump and his failed economic team. So my money is on Mark Carney, and we'll continue to follow what's happening here. But I wanted to kind of define the battleground. And this will be the blueprint for other countries to see if Canada is successful to turn away from the United States, turn its back on the United States. And all those investment dollars that Canada was making, Donald Trump scrambling to try to get other foreign countries to make commitments to invest their money in the United States. And they're all saying the right thing. They're all giving lip service to Donald Trump. Oh, sure, hundreds of billions of dollars, absolutely. Just don't hit us with more tariffs. These are all aspirational Donald Trump knows he can't enforce it. He got all angry the other day talking about a country, I don't know if it was South Korea, where he said, oh, and if they don't make the $600 billion hostage payment, I'm going to increase the tariffs again. I mean, he is just so irrational and out of control that the financial markets can't keep up, nor do they find him reliable. And now that Donald Trump's trying to kill the statistical models and the statistical reporting that are trustworthy and are relied upon so that his economy goes completely in a black box that nobody can see, completely opaque, not transparent. Wall Street's starting to react. That's why we're seeing, because of what's happening in Canada, because of the pullout of Canada and the pivot away from the United States, European Union doing the same thing. The stock market is now starting to calculate and bake into its numbers and stock prices the failures of the Trumponomics. We're going to see 3 to 5% drop in stock prices between now and the end of September. It's already started. And the tariff price premium impact on consumer pricing in the United States hasn't even hit yet. I mean, tariffs got so bad in Canada that they're already starting to lay off at their only manufacturer of aluminum. And General Motors of Canada, which is an American company, General Motors, a subsidiary, they're already laying off and cutting shifts. How does this help the American worker? How does this help the American economy? To nail General Motors. I already said earlier that Donald Trump wants to put Ford Motor Company out of business. The way all these tariffs are going to fall on Ford Motor Company making its product, which they make in America, is going to make them competitively disadvantaged. You may want to buy a Ford, you may want to buy American, but do you want to pay $75,000 for a $40,000 car? I think the market's going to say no to that. So the full ripple effect of Trumponomics and its relationship with what had been such a valuable, immeasurably valuable trading partner, NATO partner, military partner, strategic partner, tourist partner in Canada has not been fully measured. But we'll try to do it in real time here on Legal AF. I do this morning financial, economic analysis at the intersection of politics as well, only on Legal AF. Take a moment, hit the free subscribe button. Help us continue to grow this pro-democracy channel. If we can just get the couple 100 million people, if I can get 10%, if I can get 1% of the couple 100 million people that watch our videos to actually take the moment to subscribe for free, we're done. We're not done yet, but we're getting there. But thank you so much. We do really appreciate everybody in our audience. I don't want to act like we're not appreciative. We are tremendously appreciative. We wouldn't be on the air without your support. So until my next report, I'm Michael Popok. I'm Michael Popok, and I got some big news for our audience. Most of you know me as the co-founder of Midas Touch's Legal AF and the Legal AF YouTube channel, or as a 35-year national trial lawyer. Now, building on what we started together on Legal AF, I've launched a new law firm, the Popok Firm, dedicated to obtaining justice through compassionate and zealous legal representation. At the Popok Firm, we are focused on obtaining justice for those who have been injured or damaged by a life-altering event, by securing the highest dollar recoveries. I've been tirelessly fighting for justice for the last 35 years, so my own law firm organically building on my Legal AF work just feels right. And I've handpicked a team of top-tier trial fighters and settlement experts throughout all 50 states known as big auto injury attorneys who have the know-how to beat heartless insurance companies, corporations, government entities, and their attorneys. Big Auto's attorneys working with my firm are rock stars in their respective states and collectively responsible for billions of dollars in recoveries. So if you or a loved one have been on the wrong side of a catastrophic auto, motor vehicle, rideshare, or truck accident, suffered a personal injury, or been the victim of medical malpractice, employment harassment or discrimination, or suffered a violation of your civil and constitutional rights, then contact the Popok Firm today at 1-877-POPOK-AF or by visiting my website at www.thepopokfirm.com and fill out a free case evaluation form. And if we determine that you have a case and you sign with us, we don't get paid unless you do. The Popok Firm, fighting for your justice every step of the way.